You're listening to the Black Eagles podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Episode 208 of the Black Eagles podcast. I'm your host, Sinan, live from a winter wonderland. The first snow of our New York winter here. And it just happens to be the day before Christmas. Christmas Eve. Well, his Eve is a bit of a stretch. It's really like the night before Christmas, but late enough that it's technically the day before Christmas, the 24th, and that is the day that this episode will be released, and so it's when you'll all be hearing it. And so the important thing is that it's snowing on Christmas Eve. I'm dreaming of a moon, blah, blah, blah. We've got our Christmas bells, as you can already hear. Things are high key. We're feeling this. We're into the season, feeling the festivities. And if you don't know what season I'm talking about, it's hashtag Caravelli season, people. Yeah. I tricked you. You thought I was like about Christmas. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, Merry Christmas to folks out there, especially those of you who are possibly alone. If you're listening to this podcast on Christmas, you're basically alone. No, I'm kidding. I jest, but seriously, folks, happy holidays. You know, whether you celebrate Christmas or not, whether you celebrate Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or Festivus for the rest of us, whatever it is you might be up to during this season, even just relaxing at home with your family, doing nothing at all. I wish you the best in your pursuit of that.
Operation is in effect as of right now.
And obviously, as much as I was joking about hashtag Caravelli season, and I am wishing you all a happy holidays. It really is a festive Caravelli season so far. And of course, without spoiling this match that I'll be talking about today, where we hosted Göztepe, a side that is underperforming by their XG, is struggling, of course, in the Super League very much coming into this. But, as I said, they've underperformed statistically, and on top of that, you look at their performance and they're definitely chugging below their weight. That said, it's not looking great for them, obviously. Which is a shame, I think. Obviously, if you're a fan of Turkish football, you want to see a couple Izmir sides in the league, so you can get that Izmir derby. Them and Altay, of course, being the two Izmir sides in the league at the moment. But with that said, we're not trying to give them any freebies here, right? We certainly want to beat them, especially given our struggles coming into this match. With the exception of a couple of good matches, obviously. And that's what I was going to say. Caravelli is undefeated thus far in his tenure, coming into this match, with a victory over Kayserispor at home, and then a solid draw on the road against Fener. Obviously, the huge derby. So yeah, I think everyone's feeling good. We've got to win this, though, at the same time, right? Like, the good vibes of Under Caravelli's reign thus far can come to an end rather quickly, and that remains true even after this match. But let's talk about this match. Obviously, as we typically do, we talk about the form of our opponents. I mentioned they were struggling in the Super League. They're in the relegation zone. In fact, fairly deep in it, in fact. But that aside, I talked about their standings in the last episode. What I didn't do was talk about their performance in their last 5 matches. And we go back to 5 matches ago. They played Fenerbahce, the rival who we just drew, and they drew against them 1-1. And you know, starting to get some results for the season. It looked like they were turning the tide, getting things back on track. A huge draw against perennial title contenders Fenerbahce, right, for them, 1-1. And they followed it up with a big win in the Turkish Cup against Qatar 0-2, which, I mean, I don't even want to go into whatever the heck that club is, but it doesn't matter. A big 5-0 victory for them there. Following that up again with a home victory against Gaziantep, a 2-1 victory. And so, yeah, at this point, things are looking great for Göztepe. They're going to turn it around, it looks like. They've righted the ship. It's not righting, it's righted. I didn't even mention that. Prior to that, they'd gotten a draw against Kayseri, a draw against Alanya, losing to Konya in between, but whatever. Like, you know, they've started to get results. It's clear. And then they go to Rize and ish the bed, if you will, losing 3-1 to Rize on the road, I said, and then coming home to host Fatih Karagümrük and losing 0-1. So for all the good work they've done in turning their tides, it seemed to have fallen off the tracks again. That said, obviously plenty to play for them coming into this match in Istanbul against us, Beşiktaş. And so, I mean, I guess we could talk about head-to-head, right? We don't have 20 matches in the history books between us, at least not recorded in the app I have access to. But so we do have 8 matches to look back on, and we've won 6 of them. Göztepe's won 2 of them, and a single draw, so you know someone's coming out of here with 3 points. I mean, let's dive in, shall we? I think it's time to talk about the match itself. And so, starting out, of course, with lineups. Ersin Destanoğlu in goal, Domagoj Vida lined up next to Francisco Montero. So, you know, again, a nod to youth. No Wellington still. Ridvan Yilmaz and Valentin Ozier on the wings of our defense, with Miralem Pjanic, Joseph de Souza, and Ozan Oziaku making his first start in 9 years. Or at least that's what the dude on being in the USA says. So if I'm wrong, I'm just a messenger. On the wings for us, Rashid Ghazal on the right side, Kyle Larin on the left, no surprises, with Michy Batshuayi up front. As for Göztepe, they've got Irfan Egribayat, 23-year-old keeper, who's kind of interesting. I've noted him before in the past. Atinç Nukan, on the back line, with Dino Arslanagic, who's actually Belgian, 27-year-old, and Atakan Cankaya, 23-year-old Turk. They play in a 3-4-2-1 or 3-5-2, depending how you view it. Kerem Alici is the right midfielder for them, the 24-year-old Turk. I thought we might have been interested in him a while back. But anyway, Berkan Emir, 33-year-old Turk, is their left midfielder. In the middle of their midfield, Soner Aydoğdu, 30-year-old, with Obina Nwobodo, 25-year-old central midfielder. I'm not sure if they've got this right, honestly, as far as positions. Anyway, Halil Akbunar is labeled as an attacking mid next to Tijanic, so sort of flanking on either side of Sherif Ndiaye, the 25-year-old Senegalese striker. So if those positions are incorrect, I don't know what to tell you. I will say that their manager, Nestor El Maestro, who is somehow English, a 38-year-old Englishman of a manager, if you will, is coming up against our 47-year-old Ünder Karaveli. So some young minds, relatively speaking, on the case. Boy, I'm really rambling this episode. You guys can tell that This match is going to be a fun one when all things are said and done. So, let's talk about this match before I keep rambling my way out of this episode. Second minute of the match. First action. Miralem Pjanic with a ball to Ozan that's like a little bit out of his reach. Ozan sort of tries to compensate by doing something fancy. Does a pass that's also sort of a bit wild and way kind of out of Josef's path. He has to trek back for it. Can't get to it before Soner Aydoğdu, who gets the ball. Kind of a yikes pass from Ozan in his first start in 9 years. In the second minute of that first start, the ball is easily passed to Şerif Ndiaye, who slots it home, and a nightmare start for Beşiktaş. We're down 0-1 at home against the side in the relegation zone. Could Karavelli's season be over so soon? Is it possible? 13th minute, Ozan, another bad pass. Şerif Ndiaye, this time picking it off easily, sending it to Halil Akbunar, whose crosses wonky off, and we survive another bad pass from the sort of shell-shocked Ozan. Rusty or nervous, perhaps. The pressure of getting a start after all these years not starting was a bit much for him. But still, anyway, 19th minute, looks like things are getting back on track. Pjanic with a really clever ball. I think a defender gets a piece of it. He makes a sort of attempt at a pass with his right foot. Defender gets a piece of it, bounces right back to him. He then, with his left foot, puts the ball perfectly into the path of Michy Batshuayi, who runs nicely with it, sends in a lovely shot from distance. Goal. Psych. It's offsides. Looking good. You like the response, but the end product not quite where we needed it to be. 30th minute, however, after Şerif Ndiaye gets a yellow card for just a pretty nasty tackle, honestly, and then he tried to complain. I mean, anyway, whatever. He I guess I'll just say it now. He did this throughout the match later on, and I'm probably not going to mention it because it's not like a highlight, in quotes, but he would like make a horror tackle, fall, complain, get the whistle, and then ask for a card on top of it. This guy, I'm sorry to say it, Şerif Ndiaye has obviously some ability, some talent as a striker, no doubt about it, but he's also a complete turd, and he makes the hit list, folks. Sorry to do it on Christmas Eve. I'm not trying to be the Grinch who stole this man's Christmas, but he's on the list, man. I'm sorry to say it. Cue the sound effect. It is what it is. Man was a stinker. He was whiny all match, flopping all match. You hate that combination, man. That's the combination that gets you on the list. Şerif Ndiaye, you've made the illustrious list. I guess on the other hand, a little prestige for the holidays never hurt. Anyway, next big moment in the match, literally a minute later, 30th minute, Rashid Ghazal steals the ball in the back, doing some tough defensive work, trying to clear it. Doesn't want to do it sloppily. Doesn't want to he wants to keep our attacking aggression going. He wants to find a way to turn this into a counter. Crosses it. You think, is this a little dangerous? He finds Ridvan, but Ridvan does a just fantastic turn with the ball and then passes the ball just sublimely into the path of Josef, who has kind of almost a perfect run as well, kind of towards the sideline before juking back, passing it into the direction of Ozan, who wants to redeem himself for some poor touches early on, which I already mentioned, and does so to dizzying effect. Just an absolutely pinpoint one-touch pass into the direction of Kyle Larin, and all he can do is finish. He does so well, sliding it kind of up, curling it into the back, top of the net. Celebration, he puts his fingers to his mouth, or to his ears rather, like he doesn't hear. He was booed. Excuse me, dropping my pen. Booed recently, in our last match, I think. Or perhaps it was the Kayseri match, I think, maybe when we were down. And he was taken off for Guven, I think that's when it was that he was booed. Anyway, Scores, puts his fingers in his ears to sort of, little back and forth with the fans. You never want to see it. Ozan did that a while back and got in quite a bit of trouble for it, but whatever. It is what it is. A goal, right? And I think his fifth or sixth goal, I think, in the Super League as well. So you're not going to hate on it too much, but still, boo to that. But I like the assist by Ozan. Nice addition there. Certainly rewarding Under Caravelle for starting him after almost punishing them for it. But anyway, next big action. Tijanic would send in a ball from deep, would ping off the crossbar, and you don't like that. They're responding to the equalizer, and sure enough, 38th minute, they're making a move into the box. Montero is just running straight. Kerem Aligi is fishing for contact, kind of falls back into it, gets the contact he's looking for, and then flops like a fish out of the sea, if you will. Not really doing this very, my verbosity, my gift of gab seems to be not quite here tonight. But nonetheless, whatever. You get what I'm saying. Finds the contact he wants, flaps around like a little fish out of sea. We're struggling. We're in trouble. Let's be real about it. They're calling a penalty that does not need to be called here. Should not be called. This is now our fourth and sixth matches. Extending even into Europe. Which, what the heck is that? Trying not to be a conspiracy theorist here, but it's becoming quite the common occurrence for us. Anyway, Soner Aydordu would step up to take the penalty. He would send it to the right, and Ersin would go the right way and punch it, kind of right directly down the middle of the lane. Luckily, nobody gets to it before a defender does and clears it. Game's still on, 1-1. I mean, obviously it would have still been on regardless, but what I mean is we're still level here. Valentin Jose with a yellow in the 43rd minute. Berkan Emir, a yellow card in the 43rd minute for them. Halil Akbunar, a yellow card in the 44th minute. So the cards are stacking up. It's 3 for them in the first half, 1 for us. I don't remember Rosier's first. It would be relevant, obviously, though, later on. Obviously, maybe not so obvious if you're listening to me here. Anyway, first action of the second half, worth noting in the 59th minute, Michy Batshuayi with kind of looks like a casual pass to Rashid Ghazal, up into maybe an attacking position. We'll see what's going to come of it. But Rashid Ghazal decides to become the maestro that we know he's capable of being, dribbling around with it a little bit until he finds some space, sliding it in from outside of the penalty box with his left foot just low past the keeper with too much power for the keeper to do anything with it. Goal. Just beautiful, perfect, sublime. Pick your adjective. Fantastic stuff. We're up 2-1, and we looked good for it. There were no distinguishable highlights before then that I really want to talk about, but we were pressing a bit. We had a couple kind of dinklers, if you will, trinkles. Why can't I speak tonight? Anyway, trickles, little trickler shots, or not like shots lacking in power. Anyhow, 63rd minute, Batshuayi with a nice sort of move along the left side of the penalty box, shoots it across the goal mouth, saved well. But Batshuayi looking for that goal, hungry for that goal. 69th minute, first subs of the game. Yalcin Kayan enters the match for Soner Aydordu. Adis Yahovic, a name many will recognize, enters the match for Halil Akbunar. Can Bozdoğan enters the match for Ozan Ozyakub, who, aside from the assist, a bit clumsy out there, if we're going to be honest, but it's okay. We'll only really remember the assist, probably. Certainly the stat pads will. 71st minute, yellow card for Miralem Pjanic. Followed by a nice little sort of shot, actually, by Miralem Pjanic. Batshuayi finding him nicely Again, extending in a shot wide from just sort of outside of the box. But again, we're looking hungry. I think we're looking more likely to score a third goal than they are an equalizer for sure. Until first, Atakan Cankaya gets himself a yellow card in the 76th. Sorry. Also in the 76th, then shortly afterwards, in that same stop of play, Guven Yalçın enters the match for Kyle Larin, which I think most of us feel pretty good about that move. Murat Paluli enters the match in the 80th for Kerim Alici, and in the 82nd minute, in the 80th minute is when the foul is committed, but the sort of call is made official in the 82nd. Valentin was there with a really sort of clumsy, nasty tackle. He might have actually gotten the ball first, but it doesn't really matter. You're very unlikely to get away with this sort of sliding tackle from sort of behind. Rosier gets his second yellow. He's out. We're down a man. We sort of deal with it for a little while, shuffling things about. 84th minute. After, I should say, they have a pretty credible chance on goal. Sherif Ndiaye controls the ball pretty well, sort of putting it up in the air, bringing it down, sending in a shot quickly. Ederson gets down, makes the save, holds it, makes it look relatively easy, but Ndiaye did really well. Like, the shot came at off tempo. I didn't expect it. Ederson really showed cat-like reflexes there, and you like to see that, obviously, from the kid after what's just been a fantastic match from him all around. I'm just gonna say it now before I even finish up with the highlights here. Man of the match performance from the kid. 84th minute, Makana Baku comes into the match for them, for Atakan Cankaya. In the 86th, Umut Meraş comes in for Michy Batshuayi. That's the sort of move we make to deal with being man down. Michy Batshuayi looks frustrated coming out of the match, but I don't think he's mad about coming out. I don't think he's mad at Under Karaveli. I think he's mad at himself for not having scored. He had a lot of opportunities. To be fair, he got a lot of shots on goal. The offsides obviously was a shame that he scored there. I think he was just disappointed not to score. He's hungry, and you like to see that. 96th minute, that Paluli fellow, I think it was, sends in a nice cross for Adis Yahovic, who sends in a header. Again, Ederson gets up, makes a save. It's a quick header with some power into the top right, or left, depending on what position you're looking at it from. But a strong header. Ederson gets up, holds it, makes it look easier than I think it was. But big save, and that's when the match is whistled. Game over. Beşiktaş wins. 2-1. Hashtag Karaveli season remains festive. Under Karaveli, it's not like a verified story, but I'm hearing rumors. He was a former Beşiktaş youth player who had a career-ending injury before he got to make his sort of pro debut. So there's a real romantic side of the story. He's often talking about how he's committed to the club, committed to youth development of Turkish players in general. He's shown that with his selections thus far, for the most part. And if that story is true, you love to see it. He's now undefeated with 2 wins and a draw in 3 matches. Ahmet Nurçevi said he probably deserves a shot at this, right? Like, given what we've seen so far. Supposedly he showed for his first match he had his folks create a highlight video to show Michy Batshuayi of like some of the goals he scored to help him get his confidence back, and it paid off immediately. Supposedly did the same for Kyle Larin and Rashid Ghezal coming into this one. They both scored. It sounds corny, right? And I was laughing about it in my group chat earlier, and then I thought about it, and really, that's kind of what man management looks like in 2021, right? That with these kids, what they want to see, what gets them hype, what gets the blood flowing for these kids, right? They wanna be flattered. They wanna remember what they can do. The feeling of what they like after the success they've had. And a guy like Batshuayi, obviously he's seen success at high levels. He can be reminded of that. But Ghazal too, right? Kyle Aaron, right? Just show him some clips of last season. Anyway, pays off. They both score. He's doing a lot of things, man. That you got the nice story about his history with the club. That's sort of adds to the mystique. You got the man management that we're talking about here. You've got him playing guys that he coached as a youth manager. I mean, there's just a lot of positive aspects here. There's a lot of feel-good vibes going on, and I think we can all feel good about #Karavelli season going into these holidays. I feel like we're in good stead. I don't know. I'm sort of kidding, obviously. I mean, we all know we're gonna get a manager at some point, but I mean, I don't know. On the other hand, perhaps sometimes you unearth gems. Right? What is it? Pressure creates diamonds, right? Let's talk about stats. Beşiktaş, despite being up for much of the match in the end, since about the 60th minute, they still had 54% of the ball, much more of it at times, compared to Göztepe's 46. Still, Göztepe had 19 shots to Beşiktaş's 10. 7 off target, however, to Beşiktaş's 4 off target, 5 on target to Beşiktaş's 3. 7 shots blocked of theirs by us, 3 of our shots blocked. So in the end, both keepers saw some action. Both were put under pressure. Beşiktaş created 10 chances. They created 14. They had 3 big chances. We only had 1. So, that maybe XG even favored them for a change, right? And they've been incredibly unlucky all season. This might have been another case of it. On the other hand, they conceded 17 fouls, or only 11. They were very physical. We only completed 70% of our passes, so they were disrupting them. But they only completed 67% of theirs, so they were lacking technically. So for all their work, all their effort, they maybe didn't quite have what it would take to beat us. We only completed 298 accurate passes to 235. So, this was an even match. Certainly a 2-1 scoreline. I mean, I honestly think it was deserved. I think our victory was deserved. I think that although statistically they have some things looking like things could have gone their favor, I think that's not necessarily inaccurate. It's an example of stats not telling the story here. So anyone who didn't watch the match, the stats aren't going to tell you everything you need. You'd really want to watch this. The eye tests suggest something else. Now, individual stats. And I'll go highest rated player, Rashid Ghazal. A goal, obviously. A beautiful goal. But on top of that, I'll do his stats. Full 90 minutes played, 2 shots, 22 accurate passes, only at a 61% rate, but he created a nice chance. His shot was on target. One of them, rather. The other one blocked. And the one on target, obviously, just a banger of a goal. 22 accurate passes at a 61% rate doesn't sound particularly good, but he was 2 of 3 with his crosses, 2 of 3 with his long balls. He had a key pass, and so he was just very active and trying to press the issue, and so although his passes were a little sloppy, still, he did enough, very much so, in fact. And he had 68 touches, so he was quite present. He won 11 out of 19 duels, which, percentage-wise isn't fantastic, but he got into a lot of duels. Again, just hyperactivity on his part. 5 recoveries as well. The next highest-rated player is Ersin Destanoğlu, my man of the match. Then it's Obina Nwobodo, 7.77. Then Miralem Pjanic, Kerim Alici, Michy Batshuayi, assist to his name for sure. Kyle Larin, Francisco Montero, a great game statistically. Joseph de Souza, Soner Aydoğdu, Rıdvan Yılmaz, Ozan Ozjakub, David Tijanic, Domagoj Vida, and that's it as far as above 7. But good ratings for everyone I mentioned there. And obviously the best going to Kezal, Edison, Obina for them. I mean, but mostly our guys, right? And that's where stats start to look a little bit more like, what I said I saw, rather than what the team stats were showing. And I mean, again, I'm giving the match to Ersin Destanoğlu. I will quickly. We'll take a look at Miralem Pjanic's stats. He only had one shot, but 47 accurate passes at an 82% rate. So he was getting things going. His passes were really looking good. He was threatening a lot. He created 2 chances. The one that was called offsides was a goal. One shot was off target, but it was close. Sort of shaved the woodwork even. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, 2 of 4 with his crosses. 2 key passes, 74 touches. So not quite as much as Rashid Ghazal, but very present. 7 of 15 duels. Sorry, that's not right. It is right. 7 of 15. Whatever. Not great in that regard, but active, present. Could have been more. I mean, he's in the middle of the midfield there, to be fair, but whatever. I think he was trying to attack. He had 9 recoveries at the same time, so he was getting back and helping out in other ways. Maybe not aggressively in the defensive sense, but whatever. It is what it is. On top of that, I'll talk about Francisco Montero because he was rated really highly, despite giving up a penalty. Right? He played the full 90, 41 accurate passes at a 72% rate. As I said, conceded a penalty. 11 long balls attempted, 4 of them accurate. So, I mean, a lot of those are clearances, you'd imagine. 81 touches. He really was omnipresent, especially for a guy on the back line. Very involved. 12 of 15 with his duels won. He was a rock back there. So again, people are going to bag on him for maybe for giving up that penalty, which probably shouldn't have been a penalty in the first place, but he had a great match defensively. 5 recoveries. Very involved, very active. Not only on the back line, but kind of in the back of the midfield, helping connect things a little bit. So lots of balls completed accurately, passing-wise. Good match from him. I'm not surprised he had a high rating, and I thought he looked good, and I was disappointed that he had that unfortunate outcome with the penalty, because you knew that would impact things. Now, that's it for stats. Like I said, Ersin gets my man of the match. Karavelli season continues. I'm all about it. I hope he sticks around, and I hope he has enough success that people will accept that first, L, which could be upcoming. We're playing Konya on the road. Konya is in 2nd place. Playing good football, even. I'll talk about them in a moment. First, though, we gotta talk standing. Vital. Beşiktaş is in 7th place, up from 9th. If anyone will recall where we were last week after the draw with Fener. Start again. Trabzon in 1st place with 45 points. Konya with 36 in 2nd. Konya, who we're playing next on the 27th of December. Başakşehir is in 3rd with 32 points. Fener in 4th with 29. Adana Demirspor and Hatay have 29 points ahead of us in 5th and 6th. Hatay is dropping. And in 7th place is Beşiktaş with 28 points ahead of Alanya with 27, Sivas with 26, Fatih Karagümrük with 26, Gaziantep with 25, and 12th place Galatasaray with 24 points. Galatasaray is 6 points ahead of Altay. It's the last team not be in the relegation zone. So Galatasaray is in a scrap for promotion to stay, not promotion obviously, but to stay out of the relegation zone for sure. I sort of jest, but again, things are really looking dire for them. And now more so, right? Last week I joked about that, even though we were only a point up. Now they're actually 4 points behind us. Much more dire. And interestingly, we're only 1 point behind Fener after that draw last week. A season... I mean, they have now lost their manager as well, but... yeah, you know, despite all of the sort of catastrophe we've encountered with injuries and changing our manager and all that, we're still just a point back on Fener, the only rival that's sort of positioned ahead of us. And right now, we're 8 points out of second place, 4 points out of third. Actually, I don't really want to talk about how we're 17 points out of first place, but I guess it's a good thing it's Abdul Avci who's managing Trabzon, because that man is prone to catastrophic choking, if you will. But look, first is probably not in the cards, but we could still fight for second place. Only 8 points back, and that team that's up there in second happens to be Konya Spor. I mean, I should probably mention Galatasaray lost against Adana Demirspor. That's why they're down where they are. Fener drew against Fatih Karagümrük. That's why we're sort of catching up to them and only a point back. So that's why our rivals are struggling in regards to us, or relative to us. That said, Trabzon won on the road in Izmir. You know, both of us defeated Izmir sides. They defeated Altay 1-2 on the road. They went down early and then came back and won it. So Trabzon is running away with things. Now, as for Konya, they went to Hatay, a side that they're vying for second place with, and in Hatay came away with a 1-3 victory. Konyaspor is, I mean, it's a side that's playing well, you have to say. Their manager, İlhan Palut, 45-year-old Turk, so kind of a young up-and-comer, if you will. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know. Like, as far as individual performers, their top scorer is Sokol Sikaleshi, a name that we'll all recognize, 31-year-old Albanian. He's been dangerous before, you know, we've seen him around. Their solid central defender, Abdul Kerim Bardakci, was a guy, 27-year-old Turk. A number of us wanted as like sort of a depth option. He remains with Konya. So, I mean, they have some talent. But obviously on paper we have more. The question is, are we a cohesive unit? Can we go to Konya, a side that's always hard to go to, or rather a place it's always hard to go to and come away with points from? Can we keep the good vibes rolling and do that? Now, a lot of people in my group chat have already chalked this up as an L, or at least lost points. So a win would be huge for Beşiktaş, and I think for Under Karaveli would basically guarantee quite an extension for him. I don't know if I'd guarantee like him finishing out the season, if you know, because things can go fast. We all saw how Sergen Yalçın, things fell apart, as you will, in the words of Chino Achebe. Things fall apart, or the roots for that matter. Man, I'm really off target here these days on tangents. But look, we know things can go bad, but at the same time, I think we can all agree that if Under Karaveli got a victory in Konya, it would be hard for anyone to fire him. Certainly for a good minute or two. That said, I think realistically, Konya's, I don't know, like if they're the bettor's favorites, if they have their odds, I wouldn't be surprised if they did. And they really are at the top of their playing fantastic football. They're only 8 points back on Trabzon, or no, sorry, 9 points. But nonetheless, you know, they're closest to catching them. If they win and Trabzon loses, they're only 6 points back, right? That's feasible. So they have plenty to play for, and they're playing well. So cross your fingers, folks. That match is going to occur on Monday, December 27th, a couple days after Christmas. I don't know if people are returning to work then, or they have the week off for New Year's. whatever it is, noon here in New York City. In Konya, like I said, so we're on the road. It's a hostile place to play. Let's hope for the best. Again, Monday, December 27th, noon here on the east coast of the United States. Check your local listings, as always. And that's it for us, folks. Follow us on Twitter at Eagles_podcast. Follow us on Instagram, Black Eagles Podcast, one word. Follow yours truly at Sir_Writes_a_lot. Have a Merry Christmas. And I'll speak to you folks again before New Year's, so don't worry about that. But, if you don't tune into the next episode for whatever reason, Happy New Year's nonetheless. Happy holidays to all, and of course, a Merry Christmas. Let's go Beşiktaş! Peace out, everybody. Let's do this. Comeback season, baby. Karavelli season. Let's go. Let's go.
Beşiktaş International hopes you enjoyed this program.